It's Thursday, the 12th of August 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. In today's headlines, Commonwealth Bank unveils a whopping share buyback and a big profit, but are things about to get tougher? Plus, Victoria's lockdown is extended while New South Wales's COVID cases remain very high. One of Australia's biggest insurers has a go at itself, and why digital funerals are in fashion. Our lead story today, Australia's biggest company, the Commonwealth Bank, will return almost $10 billion to shareholders via buybacks and dividends after reporting a near 20% jump in cash profit to $8.7 billion. Strong demand for home and business loans underpinned the result, as did a big fall in provisions for bad loans. The bank's share price closed at a record high of $108.03 yesterday, up 1.4%. There's no company on the bourse that knows what's happening in the real economy better than Commonwealth Bank, thanks to its huge customer base and data on transactions. Chief Executive Matt Comyn said he expected the economy would contract during the current 3 months, before bouncing back in the run-up to Christmas once lockdowns were lifted. It's a good result from CommBank. It's doing better than average in its lending products, it has plenty of cash, and it's been able to simplify its business. But low interest rates aren't good for bank profits because they diminish the difference between lending and deposit rates. That gap is a big part of earnings. And Commonwealth Bank, like its peers, has to try and keep up with the Afterpays and Apples of the world. Until more recently, the banks had a stranglehold on people's money and spending. That's changing, and that's a challenge for Matt Comyn and his big bank brethren. In overseas news, inflation in the United States moderated last month, climbing 0.5%. Price rises have been a key risk for share markets, with traders nervous that recent jumps could lead to higher interest rates. But the figures released overnight suggest inflation was moderate and recent increases might have been transitory. The CPI figure triggered a surge in cyclical stocks away from technology companies. The chance of Julian Assange being forced to face charges in the United States rose overnight, after a court ruling expanded the scope of an appeal against a decision that said he should remain in the UK. Mr. Assange, the Australian-born founder of WikiLeaks, who has been in the Ecuadorian embassy in London or a UK prison for more than a decade, is wanted over the release of classified information with the help of US Army intelligence officer Chelsea Manning. The Chinese Communist Party's anti-corruption watchdog has said the country should reduce business drinking and replace it with correct values. According to Bloomberg, the comments came in response to a sexual assault case involving Alibaba Group employees. Separately, the Culture Ministry said it planned to ban songs from karaoke bars that spread harmful information, particularly those that inspired drug taking, gambling, and religion. Locally, New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian continued to flag the prospect of easing restrictions in September or October if 50% of the state's population has at least one jab. The state's on track to have 70% of its population vaccinated by October, although some easing restrictions in low-rate areas for people who have received a jab was likely before then. The state recorded 344 new locally acquired cases of COVID-19 yesterday. There were 20 new cases in Victoria, with Melbourne's lockdown extended by a week until next Thursday. Queensland recorded 4 new local cases of coronavirus yesterday. The Westpac Melbourne Institute survey of consumer confidence showed that sentiment tumbled this month as the lockdowns in Greater Sydney, parts of regional New South Wales, Victoria and southeast Queensland hit people's moods. It comes on the back of the National Australia Bank Business Survey on Tuesday, which showed falling sentiment. It matters because when consumers are confident, they spend, and when businesses are upbeat, they invest. Insurer IAG said it lost $427 million last financial year, and its outgoing chair Elizabeth Bryan gave a fair old roasting to herself. The disappointing result was in part due to organisational and risk management failures, she said, including hundreds of millions of dollars in refunds being paid back to customers, underpayment of staff, and policy wording that didn't deal with the COVID pandemic. Cobram Estate hit the bourse yesterday. It's the olive oil company, and after the close it was valued at $700 million. Cobram has benefited from COVID because many more people are cooking at home, and that's boosted revenue. It produces more than 70% of the country's olive oil and also operates in the United States, the world's largest olive oil market. InvoCare is a funeral business which owns brands including White Lady Funerals and Simplicity Funerals. COVID hasn't been good to the company because lockdowns have prevented large gatherings of people at wakes, which is where it makes a fair chunk of its earnings. InvoCare's share price has struggled throughout the COVID period, but there is some good news. Digital memorials are on the rise. Its relatively new CEO, Oliver Chretien, said live streaming of services will become more popular, and younger mourners like digital memorials. Well, there you go. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. Make sure you hit follow so you get it every morning. And if you'd like more detail and more stories, search for our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. We also release a daily interview. Today, we're talking to founder of a company with a solution to the housing affordability crisis. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to fearandgreed.com.au. I'll be back later with the afternoon market report. I'm Sean Aylmer. Have a great day.